Okay, got it. Thank you for telling me recording is in progress.
Yeah, it's a law. We have to say that.
Yeah.
Hey, John.
But
Hey.
yeah,
Hello,
but
John.
Hey,
I got
John.
a picture of his daughter at the academy. We were out at the hotel Palmer House, and his daughter and my daughter were both, just about the same age. And yeah. And we did that arrangement of spinning wheel.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
But
it was,
Belanger write that? Who wrote that?
no, Mike and I did. And we took it off a record.
Oh,
You talk about a labor of love. I mean, we would just put it in the key that the bugle could handle, and
That was a
and
great
then
arrangement.
we would do like two measures, and then we'd backtrack and say, no, that was this note, and we'd change that. And it was, whew. His apartment was over there too, somewhere around the Palmer House, I think.
hey,
But
I
anyway.
tried to do that once with Hawaii 5-0. I thought, well, that'd be a cool chart. And
Yeah.
I decided it didn't matter that I was a music major in college. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't pull it off.
Yeah.
That's hard to do, pull it off a recording.
You've got to
Wasn't
admire.
there a part? Oh, I'm sorry. Wasn't there a part of Spinning Wheel? Wasn't it a part of the Blood, Sweat, and Tears medley that we used to play in concert?
Yeah. Well, not in concert. I don't know if we ever performed the one that Mark and I did.
Well, we did it in Kenosha in 1970.
Yeah, and that
Okay.
was the first concert tune I played when I got in the Corps. That's what they were
Okay.
playing. So
Yeah, that was
it would have
probably
been
Belanger.
70. Yeah.
But who wrote, was it Marky that did the arrangement of Can't Take My Eyes Off of You?
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
Marky.
That was Marky.
Marky did that.
Yeah. We did that for a closer somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike Ruggiano would remember that one, baritone solo.
Yeah, me and Gil, we had a little bit of a
Yep.
duet.
Yeah, I
got a
remember
shot. Yeah,
That was a great one.
People
Yeah.
love that.
All the girls, like
Oh, yeah.
at that Stockton recording, I think in '68 was the premiere of the maybe playing it, and the microphone was by these girls, the color guards, and you started playing that, they all went,
Yeah.
sure that
They
was one of
Gotta love a man in uniform,
those- must have been getting hit with all the honey that was coming out of that horn.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Well, man, I've
I
been
still think
watching some of the DCI performances and stuff, and holy cow, has it come a long way or what? Since
Well, some say yes, and some say they hate it. So it's kind of a mixed bag.
Well, it's
I don't like
entertain-
seeing
it's
trombones
dancing and
and-
entertainment. So,
Singing and all that.
I'm
stuff.
not a big fan of the current course. Now, don't get me wrong. Their musicianship is excellent.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
when you see trombones, on the sideline, and there's violins and there's people, and then they have a full percussion. It's just not drum corps anymore.
I'm kind of waiting to see it.
Nothing against trombones.
And it's not, thank you for that. That was it's been my instrument for 68 years,
Well,
guys. 68 years.
I'm a trumpet player now, so now I've joined the community orchestra.
Oh,
I'm playing
okay.
trumpet, and I should have done that before, because playing trumpets, it's a piece of cake compared to baritone. I should have done that years ago.
Oh, see, I'm just the opposite, Mike.
I'm
I
waiting
know
for
when I was-
Gangoose's head to explode, by the way. So it's
When I went back to Fort Hayes,
Yeah.
took that early out to go back to Fort Hayes to finish up my degree. And I, had to learn how to play all the instruments and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And I nailed it, of course, with trombone and flute and French horn. Oddly enough, I did very well on trumpet. I wasn't worth a tinker's damn. I could not. I mean, it was horrible, and But it was, I have to admit, it was better than violin.
Yeah,
I
that's
couldn't,
what.
I
Hey,
couldn't
Mike?
get,
Yeah.
make the single note because I would always have a flam to it. The drummers, yeah,
You know
because I
that,
would
you
go
know that
bump,
phrase.
but up. I couldn't coordinate, with the bow and stuff.
Hey, John
Mike.
Ganguza, got a
It's-
question for you.
It's pretty easy when you stick the notes on the staff. It's when you go to that next octave up.
Oh, I know, I'm working on my second octave above the staff. I had to go out and find a plunger mute. Because I've got the other mutes, but I had to go, it was I couldn't find a music store that carried it. So the guy says, just go buy a plunger.
That's
So
right. I was
I
just gonna
did,
say, man,
but
just look in
Yeah,
your
but-
toilet.
Just
Just don't get a
problem
used,
was-
don't get a used one, man.
No, but the problem was
You
when
might
I
want to
would,
sanitize it before use, because
When-
you wouldn't want to inhale.
when I would use it, the stick would hit the flutist in the back of the head. So I had to stop. So I ordered a regular, I ordered a regular plunger mute.
So John
No, you-
Ganguza, got
you
a
take this.
question for you. So Ganguza, how do you
Yes.
feel about how do you feel about the cadets moving to
Erie?
Erie, Pennsylvania now?
Did they get paid to move there or what?
Of course.
I think
Does anybody know the reason for it?
they found, I think, a really good campus, and of course, they've been trying to get rid of the baggage that was accrued. How shall I phrase this? In part of the Hopkins years, if you will. So I think they've. Anyway, it looks like I think they kind of deal. They're going to be there till at least 2034. Is what I understand, and I guess they've got like it's a place where there's like a 60-acre campus. And they had, I guess, camp there last year. It's actually got like residential facilities, dormitories or something right on site and whatnot. I mean, I don't have all the ins and outs on it, but I've got a
Did anybody hear about Santa Clara not fielding a corps this year?
Yep.
Yeah,
Financial things, that's
Yes, sir.
sad. That's sad.
It actually started earlier last year when they, several months out in front of them announcing they weren't going to field a corps this year, they discontinued their B Corps. And that hit a lot of people really hard, several months in front of that. So kind of the handwriting was on the wall. Yeah, a lot of it was financial. A lot of it is financial. So,
yeah. I got a friend here in Stockton who's a Commodore alumni, and during the summer he drives for Drum Corps. He takes his regular trucking job, and they let him. He drove for the Mandarins. Then during the high school bands, he drives to what's the equivalent to DCI in Indianapolis, California. There's a California band that's way up there in the band. But anyway, he drove for Vanguard last year, and last week he took a truckload of the drums. I didn't know this, but I guess the drums company Dynasty in Texas, if you're going to do a show, here's your drums, blah, 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 welcome to them and return them when the season's over. Well, a whole new set, he drove them back down to Texas a couple
Yep.
weeks ago, and in the Vanguard bus and stuff. And then he came back and he says, hey, you want one of the props that came from the Vanguard show in the Sambo drumline area? So he brought me back like a wind chime. Vanguard had these wind chimes in the last year's show, about 5 of them all over the field. They're about 6 foot tall and they're all tuned. So he gave me, so I got a wind chime from the Santa Clara 2022 show. But yeah, so the drums went back. And I said, well, didn't they buy the drums? He says, no, the drum company, since they're not fielding, they wanted their drums back. So and I told him, well, couldn't you, like, a drum fall off the truck somewhere between here and Texas? And, no.
I'm very familiar with that process.
Would you?
Yeah. couldn't
I
have,
could use a new dynasty.
yeah, couldn't a drum fall off the truck, because we do that and where we used to work, the guys say, hey, have one of those things fall off the truck, don't show up with it.
Well,
You
what a
needed those
difference. I
wind
remember
chimes
starting,
for your
we used to
collection, Ray,
take
or
all
Roy.
our equipment and our uniforms and put them on a truck, and we called it the bread wagon, because that's what kind of truck it was.
Yeah.
Hello, Paul.
Welcome,
Hey, Paul.
Hey,
Hello.
Paul.
Hey, Paul.
Evening, guys.
Hey, John, that's what we had was an old bread truck that my father picked up and painted and put the inside and all this stuff for all of our equipment. And that's
Yeah.
all we had.
Now you need semi trucks.
Yeah.
We
Hey,
have
you guys, speaking of drums, Bob Zarfas, do you want to tell the guys about this event you've sent the pictures out on? I can show them and you could talk.
Yeah, Tom can help me because we've been kind of, working on this together a little bit.
Okay, hang on a minute. Let me pull that up. Let's see. Okay, screen, where are we? All right. Now, can you guys see my calendar?
Yeah, but I see
BYU.
BYU football.
Huh?
I can see BYU football.
Let me ask you, can you see where it says February now?
Nope,
Nope.
just BYU football. They're
There you go.
February.
Yeah,
There you go,
is.
February 2020 Zoom.
You see that?
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, and do you see this? I moved that over with pictures of the video. Can you see that?
No.
No,
No,
Nope.
Oh, okay, I got the wrong screen, but that's okay. So let's see, let's go, okay. So here's the email that Bob sent out, and you and Tom could talk about it. It's called the Lancers Indoor Drum Corps Show Profiles in Music, right?
Yeah.
So I got this off of the
yeah, off the website from where we're having the show, right?
yeah. So it talks about down here some of the attending corps. So the Marine Corps, DMV is going to be there, but some of these others, some of you guys were in these, right? Crusaders,
Yes.
Hawthorne. Oh, John,
Mhm.
weren't you in the Hawthorne Caballeros?
yeah, 3 years.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, here's a picture that you had of some very handsome drummers. Do you want to explain who they are, Barb?
Yeah, well, this is our snare line with the drum corps minus one person. So we right now we have 13 snares, and they're so jammed together, so I could actually get them in the picture. That's
Yeah,
why they're all pushed in like that. So
Hey,
here's
hey,
a,
John Crowder.
yeah,
John, if you'll go back, if you'll move your cursor to the left, no, don't go back in the program. Go back to the photo.
oh, go back.
No, go to the picture
other
of
way.
the snare drummers. There we go. Okay, move your cursor fourth from the left.
Is there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's Kirk. Kirk was with the United States Marine Drum Bugle Corps about 1969-ish. So in other words,
70,
he's from like
70,
my era.
73, somewhere in there. Yeah,
Yep, 72 actually.
72.
Move
okay.
move over two. That's Kevin Boyce. He's one of the new guys. He was also Marine Drum Bugle Corps and a hell of a drummer. Actually, I don't think you'd argue that, Bob. And
Oh,
he
no.
ends up retiring as a major out of the Marine Corps.
Yeah. Yeah,
Really?
Tom, let me just interrupt and say a little more about Kevin, because
Yeah.
unlike some of us who just played drums or blew our horn, after his 8 years in the Marine Drum Corps, he went to OCS and he ended up in Afghanistan and Iraq, survived a plane crash in Afghanistan. He was in one of those planes with the rotor, I forget what it's called, the V-22, They,
Yep.
with the rotating, they put the engines up,
Osprey.
take off like a
The Osprey.
helicopter.
Osprey.
Osprey.
And he was calling in airstrikes and something happened to the plane. And he said all he remembered is somebody saying we're going down. And there were 5 guys on the plane and 2 or 3 were killed. And he said he woke up a couple weeks later in a hospital in Germany, broken back, broken neck.
Oh,
So
oh,
And he is a disabled veteran, by the way.
yeah. So
Yeah.
he's a real Marine, and certainly he deserves credit for that.
You know,
absolutely.
all the guys, musicians in the Marines are all combat ready, aren't they?
Yes, they are. Yeah.
They are way back in the day. They were actually assigned as a machine gun detachment, but that's a long time ago.
Yeah. Back when I was at bowling, we would go over to the Marines sometimes, and they actually had their weapon hanging on their bunk. So if they were called up, they were ready to roll.
That's a far cry from what we had, isn't it?
Well, wait a minute now. Some of those guys, I don't know about that. Some of the Air Force guys in the Colorado Springs barracks, they were ready for battle anytime.
That's right. We had a
Yeah,
6-pack.
thanks,
Hey,
Paul.
we had a 6-pack hanging on our bedpost.
Oh,
Yeah.
we'd shoot rockets out from the roof. We did that.
There were no communists on the 3rd floor in the dormitory.
Are you guys,
The Chinese communists never invaded.
I didn't know you guys,
I feel-
I thought the roof of the barracks was only used when Moravec went up there to naked suntan. I didn't know you guys were shooting off stuff.
There was a trap door in that hallway that got you up to the roof. And at the time, a lot of the guys, Joe Critian and a few of the guys were into building Estes rockets. And we set an Estes rocket up in the hallway and shot it out that hole in the, yeah. Didn't get in any trouble for it, but boy, that was a different age.
Well, yeah. Now you can't even send up a balloon, can you?
That's right.
Happy birthday, boom, to you. So if you'll move your cursor over 3 spaces to the right, 1,
many?
2, 3, there you go. That's Billy Mojica, Air Force Drum and Bugle Corps. Bob can tell you more about Bill. He's but Bill is an amazing musician. He's kick-ass drum set drummer. Probably forget drum and bugle corps. That boy can play.
Yeah, he spent most of his career playing in big bands and groups around Baltimore. But yeah, an excellent percussionist.
Huh.
He was in until probably, I think, 60 to 63, somewhere in there.
I think we have a picture of him and one other one. Here's your bass drummers. Who are these guys, Tom?
That's me.
Who's
The
everybody
gentleman
else?
standing. Well, Bob can do more. Bob can tell you more about Bob and Bernie. Charlie's a tail on his own. The 3rd guy in from your left.
Right there?
He's got multiple myeloma.
Oh,
He's
wow.
going down to Johns Hopkins. He's been surviving with cancer now for many years. Bob, you've got this tail down better than I do.
Well, yeah, Charlie was identified with multiple myeloma 8 years ago, at which time they gave him 3 to 5 years to live, and he's still here. And until about a year ago, he was playing bass drum. Now he comes for the inspiration and for us and the support we give to him. But yeah, he's headed to Johns Hopkins, which is a really good research hospital in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Are all these guys from military backgrounds or just?
No, not all.
No.
The ones, well, I mean, some were in the military, but only a few were actually in military musical groups.
Oh,
If you move 2 down from Charlie, the guy with the taller than me, yeah, that's Billy Strickland. Bill was with the Yankee Rebels, and he does a lot of rope drumming stuff, and just a really fun guy to be with, and a steel worker to boot. If you go to the end of the line here, the gentlemen are Mr. Diversity in this picture. If you go down there, that's Willie. Willie's a Vietnam vet. Was he Army or he was Navy?
He was Army. Yeah, he has a couple Purple Hearts from Vietnam. And
Yeah, he got shot up during the Tet offensive.
Tet
over there. He was-
offensive, Tet offensive, right, Tom? Yeah.
he
Hey,
was,
Tom, you got rope drums there?
Yeah, we,
yes, those
we
are
switched.
actually, those
Yeah.
are, the root metal bases there are rope drums.
So you can tune them.
Well, kind of.
No,
A
they're
little
not
bit
tonal.
anyway, but
They're not tonal. It's
They're not
just
tonal, they're
a
not
better
tonal based.
carrying sound than when we were playing rod bass drums for rudimental. So, so
haven't
we
seen
switched.
those in years.
No.
Here's a few more.
And this is just a motley cast of characters here.
Motley Crew.
Yeah.
Actually, the folks on your left, as you look at it, whoa, back up a second. The folks on your left, that's Barb and John Flowers. John is, I hesitate to use the word legend, but he's right up there with like Bob Z and a couple of
No,
other
he's
folks.
he's way ahead of me.
Well,
John taught so many DCA corps and won some national championships as an individual snare drummer. He was an outstanding drummer and arranger. Unfortunately,
still
he
plays that,
can't remember music anymore. So, and his hands, he's wearing gloves. He's really lost some sensitivity. So his play has declined, but he's a walking encyclopedia about drum corps.
and he's about 87 years old now, I think.
No, he's 6 months younger than I am, Tom. So I'm still 86, and so is John.
Well, somebody had a birthday.
What kind, Tom, what kind of music do you guys play? I mean, how big of a set? Are you just exhibitionists there or what?
We do not do field performances. Given the relative, I mean, there's not a whole lot of terribly young people. We have been picking up more folks. It's like kind of fun to, when I stand in the line and we've got a 22-year-old standing next to me, that's the kind of blend you're looking for. But we do parades, we do exhibitions, but basically it's in concerts, things like that. But we don't compete on the field, no.
So are you guys going back to this right here? You guys are going to perform at this?
Yeah, it's our show, so to speak, and
It's your show.
then we invite other groups to come in.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah,
got it.
it's a really nice venue. It's an acoustically perfect, balanced auditorium and a Broadway
And,
side stage. So
And Bob has to speak well of it because his daughter, who graduated from West Point, as memory serves me correctly, runs the place.
yeah, well, she runs the campus, not just somebody else runs the building, but she runs the campus. Yeah.
So
And she's a West Point grad.
how big
Well,
is
seeing
your,
this pop up on there, I was going to mention, you talk about people that were ambidextrous in many fields. Boy, that interview with Jack Mouse just blew me away. And I responded back directly to Jack. And he rubbed shoulders with every famous musician there was. He just had an incredible story. And I mean,
yeah, he started, if you guys get a chance, I know this got emailed out, I think, but we could send it out with our email, but he started playing drums at age 4. I didn't know that. He was and he's dropping names all over this interview that in jazz that are unbelievable.
yeah, he's
So-
played with about every jazz cat that you can name. I mean, famous people, legends.
Well, even Ray, before he got to the Corps, he had played with all kinds of different jazz.
Yeah,
Really.
yeah.
So anyway,
And he was playing in Denver. Was that while he was still at the academy, or was it after? I don't
that
remember.
was after, I think.
Yeah. He's played all the venues. He's done seminars. He's played with, all the jazz greats, Stan Getz.
Wow.
Oh yeah, Buddy Rich, Terry, what's that guy's name?
Clark Terry.
Clark Terry, yeah.
Yeah. He said, I liked where he said, well, Clark was, what was the word he used? He was very very sensitive about it, you know, because he was saying, "Oh, these guys were my mentors, my heroes. They brought me up. They were like my fathers." And he said, "Well, Clark Terry was let's just say like he was like an uncle, you know." Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty amazing. And he mentioned Frank Mantooth. You guys remember Frank?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, the Tooth. Yep.
Yeah.
I played in the group with Mantooth in
Yep.
Colby, Kansas. We had High Plains Jazz Band or something like that up there at Colby Community College up there on I-70.
Lost him too early.
Yeah.
And,
I remember when we moved to Southern California back in '87, and I remember listening to some jazz, FM jazz channels down there, and he was one of the musicians. They were playing his stuff, and
yeah,
I guess he became pretty significant jazz pianist.
well, he was that to start with, and then he branched out. He was in my hometown of Garden City, and he was an artist in residence at the junior college out there, and he fell in love with this elementary school teacher, and they got married, and then he took off. His home at the time, he was just an artist in residence for that year. But he was living in Chicago, and on like a 4th floor flat up there, and he hired some people and loaded that grand piano out of that 4th floor window and brought it down to Garden and decided he wanted to live there. And yeah, he was great.
Yeah, he played in one of those Texas college jazz groups in Texas, didn't he? At college?
I think he might have been at North Texas.
North Texas. Yeah. I think that's where he got his college.
Yeah.
Well,
The
lucky-
largest UNT, the largest music school in the United States.
Well, is it now? It
Yes,
was
it
at
is.
one time, but then all the folks, the professors there at UNT went down to North Florida or Florida University or one of the Florida schools.
Yeah.
And took
No,
a lot
I
of those.
think UNT is still the biggest.
Yeah, I've got a
Either way, it's a huge program.
I've got an interesting story about that. Okay, so I'm at Foster Music, and this is, I don't know, 1965, let's say. And this young girl, our families, we had 2 parents and 5 kids each. And Ann McMillan, she was one of my favorites, and she at the time was a drummer. She wised up though, and she now plays trumpet. So
She's a musician now.
but she I brought her into the music store just as a 9th grader and was showing her some repair techniques. I don't remember if I paid her or bought her pop or whatever, but anyway.
All right.
Yeah, and
Repair techniques, yeah.
yeah, she ended up, well, I trained several, okay, she ended up at North Texas, and she was the head of the repair department, and she had flutes coming in from England, and I mean, they did all the campus stuff, of course. Dear friend, and she retired, just married and got retired about a month ago or 2. And it made me feel so good because we're such close friends. She had put in, because everybody was saying, "Oh, yeah, we'll miss you. You've done such a great job. We love you. Hate to see you go, but we understand." And she made a comment. She said, "If it hadn't been for Ray Foster at Foster Music, this never would have happened." And I just about cried. God.
That's a terrific.
That's
That's
cool.
a terrific
Mhm.
Hey, Bob, let me see if I could share this with you. Remember you sent out this email. What could you tell us about this story about this
Oh,
I've
okay.
got way too many stripes.
Yeah.
Jack Mayer?
Yeah, Jack Mayer came to the Corps right before it broke up. I didn't really know him. I knew his name, but he's so proud, as rightly he should be, his granddaughter made the Air Force Band on French horn. So that's just a really nice story. And
Yeah, and it says here she graduated from the Eastman School of Music with a
Yeah.
master's from Penn State.
yeah,
And now she's right there. She's playing with the Air Force Band.
yeah.
Oh,
That looks like the French horn section.
Yeah,
You think?
and we were talking about when they go in the service, now with the Air Force Band, that they start out as like, I think a tech or
I was gonna say tech, probably. Yeah.
more even. But at any rate, I just thought, I appreciate, Bob, when you share these things. It's nice.
Yeah, well, that's just a really nice story. And sometimes it's good to share nice news instead of writing about who's sick and who's passed away. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, also a caveat here, I'm not trying to hog things, but you guys are stimulating my brain, which is half numb most of the time. But the first chair, French horn in the Marine Band was a next door neighbor of mine in Garden City, Kansas, Max Kripe. He did I think he did the full 20, maybe longer. Yeah, I can remember him coming we had a brass quintet and we lost our French horn player. He was a band director and he took a job at a different school. And so we were hunting around for a French horn player. And one of the guys says, well, I'm this kid at the high school, and he's pretty good. I mean, he's only a sophomore or junior, whatever he was, and said, bring him in. Let's give him a try, And we sat down, and of course, we pulled out a piece that I think it was a fracking pole number, and we had played it. We used to tour a few schools every year. So we had a program of sorts, and so Max came in and playing on this old beat up 8D French horn. I mean, it was a school horn, and he sat down and we played about 4 lines, and I said, okay, guys, that's a wrap. I think we better start practicing to keep up with this kid. And yeah, he went to WSU for his undergraduate, then went to KU for graduate, and then went to the Marine Band. Yeah. And I've got a buddy. The stories keep coming. Okay, so I've got a guy, he's in our guys group. We call it the classless guys reunion. Roger Stoner, he was a year younger than me, but he was principal trumpet with the Marine Band in DC. He was also he had the duty, I don't know the proper military name for it, but he and about 10 other guys, every day they would go over to the White House for welcoming, dignitaries that are coming in from all over the world and stuff like that. Fantastic trumpet player. He's almost over his cancer of the
Chemo or something, right?
yeah, he had the Jesus, man. Prostate. Yeah, I get it. Takes a while for the search machine to find it, but yeah, he's doing okay. He still jogs about 4 miles a day. Yeah, he's on our weekly Zoom meeting we have. Just a cool guy.
Right. It sounds like Kansas produces a lot of good musicians over the years.
Yeah.
He's named 4 people. I mean, no, there's gotta be more that, more people in Kansas than that.
Yeah, there's 10 people in Kansas. Come on.
Well, then I was
So,
wrong. I'm
Ruggiano's,
sorry.
does
Bada boom.
that include like Toto also?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I would have thought they would all be woodwinds.
Ah,
Oh,
Oh,
Dorothy's laughing about that one.
Yeah.
So let me interrupt and just say, you all understand, we talked about the Marine Drum Corps and how they are all qualified infantrymen before they become in the drum corps. The guys in the Marine band are not really in the Marines. Nobody really knows that. It's an assignment. It's the president's own. So they're not on active duty at all. They wear the uniform, but if you look, they're lacking some of the insignia. And that's
Okay.
a whole different gig from the Navy band, the Air Force band, and the Army band.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, well, now I get it. The president's own. Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
are they enlisted or are they just?
No, they're basically civilians in the
Ah,
Army
Contracted
band. They wear the
civilians.
uniform. And they might get the pension.
there'd be a civil servant.
Yeah, I did not know that. And then some of us went down to 8th and I to drum and kind of became friends with a guy named Tom Malloy, who was a timpanist with the Marine band. And he's been up to the house a couple of times. And then he was telling us, oh, we're not really Marines. I had no idea. I had no
Wow.
idea. Yeah,
That's interesting.
That's interesting.
yeah.
All right, Paul Mayer, you're being awfully quiet tonight, buddy. We need some input from you. What's going on?
Yeah. Hope everybody's well. I hope the people who aren't not on the call are okay. They just couldn't be on tonight.
Yeah,
But,
so Paul, is this Ash Wednesday or am I a week late or something?
No,
Ash
it's
Wednesday is right.
Ash Wednesday.
Yep,
Thank
this is the beginning of a busy time of year and all sorts of ceremonies and things going on, but yeah, we had our service tonight, so kept us busy. But yeah.
oh,
We
I
got-
think, wasn't it Gary Hodges that said he was playing a concert tonight? too?
Yeah, he's in the orchestra down in Tucson.
Yeah,
And then I'm just gonna follow up on Paul. I talked to Smitty on a couple of weeks ago on his birthday. His birthday is the 10th. And I called him and he said he takes care of Pat McDonald and she's doing fairly well. She's got MS and got some problems for those that remember Pat McDonald.
oh,
And
yeah.
she and Gil were all our big brother and sister, so.
Who could forget Pat McDonald? Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Has anybody
she's
checked-
still hanging in there and Smitty and Kathy are doing very well. They're both retired now, of course, and he sounds as good as ever. So,
I see the pictures of his kids and stuff and outings and everything that they put on Facebook.
yeah, they put a lot of stuff on Facebook. Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't they put a picture of Pat, he and Pat,
But they had one that they put on,
yeah.
it was from a couple of years ago when they were out for pizza.
mhm.
And they had Chip and Scott with them. And those were
Yeah.
kids. I don't know if you guys remember Gil's kids, but
Yeah,
No, I don't.
I do.
yeah, crawling around on the floor when we'd have parties at his house.
All right, there's Spike.
Hey, there's Spike.
There he is.
Hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you've got that effort looking halo for your head. It's great.
You got the halo on your head, man.
That's because I'm so good. Oh, this is great. You mean
Of course.
He's getting ready for Easter.
You are good except for the lies you tell, so.
Hey, Al, have you heard anything from Putman?
No, I've talked to Barb a couple of times because they were on a trip and they were back in Colorado Springs for a while, but
Huh?
they're back in Wisconsin now. So I do talk to Bill Carlson every once in a while. Bill and Bonnie are doing pretty well. And Bill's very happy because his granddaughter, Hannah, is on the USS Constitution in Boston.
Oh,
Huh.
that's
And she's
right.
doing
about that?
tours and everything. She's in the Navy. And then I haven't talked to Tim Baker in a couple of months, but since Christmas time, but And the last time I talked to him, he was doing pretty well, but I'm trying to get him to come on these calls, but they all seem to have other things going on.
What about Doug Lint? He's pretty busy on social media posting and stuff, but haven't seen him.
Yeah, he is.
He puts a lot of funny stuff out there. So.
He's great.
Yeah.
Hey, Spike, can you turn that light off? The reflection off the top of your head is driving me crazy.
Yeah, whether you know it or not,
Ceiling
Spike,
fan,
you've got a
Spike.
receding, Spike, you do have a receding hairline.
We could, just turn that light down, put another light on. We can see you better then.
Gonna get off the dark. All right, you guys.
It's also receding from the back.
There's mine,
Take your
Paul.
time. Stand up, Spike.
I think a lot of us have that problem.
Oh, yes.
Spike is standing up.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
That's great.
There's a
That's
joke
terrific.
about the ball, where your bald spot is.
Thanks, Roy.
All I remember is the punchline. This guy, because he's doing U-turns under the sheets, so.
Oh,
There you go. All right. Walter, well done.
Yeah.
Hey, there you go.
All right.
He's at the
Spike, can you,
Green Electronics. There you go.
Spike, can you
That's
change,
Class,
Spike, can you change your shirt? The white shirt's flashing on the screen.
it's getting, and not only that, it's getting gray.
You go give me a cup of coffee, Spike.
God, I'm glad I got in here before you guys quit.
Yeah.
Oh, we never quit.
We couldn't quit without you.
Hey, Roy, is that your souvenir from Captain and Tennille concert?
Yeah, no, someday I'm gonna get invited to a Mardi Gras and I want to be in, so someone gave me a hat.
Oh.
This
Looks
is
like Mario.
the,
Wow.
Oh, Mario, okay.
I love the trombone back there, by the way.
yeah, I'm trying to get back into it, but
Looks like a con, maybe a king. I can't tell. Just from the weight on the tuning slide.
yeah,
Hey, Roy,
yeah,
do you have a page where you put a bunch of our recordings up?
yeah, I got
Yeah.
you. I got them all on a Dropbox. And there's maybe how many would you say, Al, we probably put in there maybe 30 recordings?
I'd
30,
say at least that many, yeah.
40?
We had a bunch.
Hey,
Yeah,
you get on
You
the
think-
Keith Markey Memorial.
Yeah, go on the Keith Markey site. Yeah, and there'll be plenty on there.
Roy, would it be possible for you to send me some information on that?
Yeah,
So just send out a link to all of us if you can. so. But yeah, there was
Yeah.
a lot of Jim Ott stuff that
Yeah.
was recorded that Roy provided. I had a bunch of stuff. I think a lot of other guys, Morvac had some stuff that he put out there.
yeah, between all there that you guys must have, like say, maybe 40 different shows, and then I broke them down. It looked like there was one recording that Markey gave to Jim Mott, and they just left the mic on. And just let the mic on and went through different songs. And what's sort of cool is some of the outtakes on it, the
Oh,
crack
yeah.
jokes and the insults. Oh my God, the insults.
So
God
this
damn,
is a
where you get that-
rehearsal, right?
Where you
This
get
is
that note
rehearsal.
from, That's not
Yeah.
the way it's written, now those would probably be a whole separate thing to put together for you guys, probably. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll what's your email or should I'll give
Just do it as a thing to all of us, Roy, if you can.
all
Just
of
send
you
it
guys,
out.
okay.
Hey,
Yeah,
Roy,
the only thing is you gotta do Dropbox, you gotta like get the app on your
Okay.
computer, and then it opens it and you can download it.
No, you just went way, way over my head. I thought a Dropbox was down by the post office.
Roy,
they
send out
don't,
the
they don't have
instructions
those
with it.
anymore, even in Kansas.
Just find some teenage kid. They'll tell you how to do it.
Hey,
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you what I remember of Kansas. We were sleeping in the gym, middle of the night after I think it's the Hutchinson show in Salida.
Yeah,
And these goofball Kansas boys come by and they just emptied out the empty beer bottles through the door of the gym, rolling down. and took off. That was our welcome.
Ray, why'd you do that?
Hey, we always do that. with
And they
any
gave us,
visitors that
the
come
beer
into
bottles
state.
were empty. What an insult, man. They could have threw some beer bottles with some beer in it or something.
Yeah, what's with that?
Like
Good
they
thing we
said,
never
there's a
did
lot
that.
of musicians in Kansas, right?
Yeah.
I
many?
think they were mad at us because we were on checking out all the Salida on the Skywriter girls or something like that.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, that's during Simpsons days, and I'm still almost I probably am in contact with him like 2 or 3 times a week. And wasn't
You should
Hey,
tell
Roy,
You should
who
tell
was
them
the
to
guy?
come on.
John, not
oh, sometime, Roy, when it's just you and me talking, I'll have to tell you about a Commodore girl. I'll let it go at that.
who was the guy in the Corps that he was from Salina, and he had been with the Silver Sabres up there.
Bob,
He was
Bob Webb?
Yeah, Bob Webb.
Bob Webb.
Yeah.
There's a guy that I in 68, 69, I became a pen pal with a Skywriter guy. And then he the troopers in 69, 70. And years later, we sort of touched base like you guys touching base, sort of nice, you know.
Yeah.
And then his brother ended up driving trucks for the troopers, equipment truck and stuff like that. But yeah, he came out of Salida, and poor guy, he didn't have any money when he was in Casper, you know. So
Yeah.
I was there the whole week, and I just told him, just stick with me. And we went to all the free meals at the Rotary, you know, the Rotary and the VFW
Yeah.
Lodge gave us a meal every day for the whole week that the Commodores were there. So I just told him, every day you show here with me and you go through the food line. He was so grateful. They were starving in those days, you know. They didn't have a lot of money to join another corps in another state and live and go on tour, you know. But
Yeah.
good guy, one of the best guys I had the pleasure of calling him and still of a friend after all these years in Kansas.
Well,
Yeah,
Stockton was always a good place.
I miss those days in the late 60s and even into the 70s when like the Tournament of Champions at Argonne in Great Bend, and then the troopers would be there. Cabbies would usually come down, the Black Knights, who else? It was pretty bueno. It really was. My dad was the reason I got to see one of those shows. Dad, he was the director of the Argonne Rebels when he was teaching band in Great Bend, and but anyway, he developed some chops with that, and he had the whole program. So he would go down and judge these, adjudicate there at the Tournament of Champions, I think they call it. Well, and also, yeah, who was the other local corps?
Continentals,
Continentals, Silver Sabres, I think were there. There used to be a bunch of corps back then. We never had the Royal Airs come down. I think once we had one of the California corps come by there too. I can't remember who they were. There's too many of them out there. Yeah, bygone era in Kansas.
Well, Anaheim Kingman was one of the first corps, and then Santa Clara was shortly thereafter when they got going.
Yeah,
Could have been like
I think they were
Anaheim
on
or
their
something.
way to Atlanta for whatever big national contest it was. Legion.
Well, I know I enjoyed Stockton because I think '69. I think Tom, John Crowder, and I, that was our first show.
Yeah.
I was there.
Stockton in '69, and that was a great place, although it was a little crazy. But not that we ever drank anything, but
No.
But as I've mentioned to Roy Perez
Yeah.
before, you know,
Particularly Crowder, he didn't have anything there.
partying at the Holiday Inn there in Stockton.
Yeah, just ask Jack Mouse about how his shoes, how did those shoes get filled up with spaghetti that night?
It's an act of God.
Hey, I've reformed, since then. I'm proud to say.
We know that.
Well, I don't know.
Hey,
that's
Ray.
Ruggiano,
Ray
that's
Foster.
Ruggiano.
I can't hear it.
I finally heard back from John Simpson the other day. I'd sent something out and he responded back to me, and we communicated back and forth just a little bit. So I know you
Wow.
talk to him on a fairly regular basis. It's
Yeah,
good to know he's doing okay.
yeah, he is. I think he's happy, with his Russian wife. I can't remember her name
He's
right
been
offhand.
happy for a while with his
Yeah.
Russian wife.
Yeah, yeah, it's been a while. I got to meet her once when I was up in Kansas City and went over to John's house, and he took me by where she was working at some place, not a cafeteria. It was just a retail store. Got to meet her.
Ray, did you say once your wife is from Turkey?
Yes.
Is her family, is everything good with?
Yeah, they're most of, and by the way, we're not married, but she's my lady of 23 years. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, they're mostly on the Mediterranean side,
Oh,
and not in the southeast at all.
oh, okay.
So, yeah, boy, that devastation's just, and boy, I hope they get Erdogan out of power. I mean, because that's just, all the bribery that goes on. Oh yeah, we've got this. It's according to standards. We've got all these buildings fixed up, these apartments. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
No.
Mike Ruggiano, we want to hear about how's your trumpet playing going with your private teacher?
Well, okay. So I'm playing first. I'm playing some. So the first one of the first trumpets an accountant, and he's very busy now, so he can't come. So the section leader says, "Who wants to try first trumpet?" So I raised my hand for everything. I learned to do that in the military. So now I'm playing first trumpet, and I'm doing really well. So we're playing a medley from Count Basie, and she yells, the section leader yells about just before the last note. She says, "You hit the B." I said, "Well," and I'm telling her while the band's playing, "I never did before, but I'll try it." So I squeezed out a B. It came out really good. And then I said, "I did good, but I think I hurt myself." So,
Yeah, I think I dirtied my pants.
so, just hold one of my eyes in. But I'll tell. I already said this before. You came in a little late, but about I was trying to get a plunger mute, couldn't find one at any music store. So the guy says, "Well, go get a regular plunger." So I tried it, but the stick kept hitting the flute player in the head. So so what I did was I just wound up ordering one online. So it's coming tomorrow.
You could go down to Walmart and pick up any size you want.
But
I have
sometimes
them
never
for my
change.
trombone.
But isn't it hard to work the plunger while you're holding it and you're going like this?
Yeah, no, you put the bell on your hand, Mike. You put the bell on your hand, and that little loop on the plunger. You put your finger in that, then you just go wah wah wah
Yeah.
boo wah.
I remember that move from high school. Yeah. Okay.
Different
Good thing they didn't tell you
context.
you needed a mute. What would you have done if they told you you needed a mute, Mike?
I have
Oh,
three mutes. I've got a straight mute, cup mute, and now I have the plunger mute.
Oh, so now you can mic your mutes.
No.
Thanks.
Well, somebody
Yeah.
else gave me the lead in on that. I
Okay.
just kind of took the ball and ran with it.
So Paul Mayer, quick question for you.
Yeah,
So we're not having your life yet, right?
right. Yeah, no, my life has been mostly dealing with union labor relations and negotiations as of late. I haven't had time for much anything else besides that.
Yeah, he's only working about 80 hours a week.
Oh, slacker.
Yeah, losing
Oh,
interest.
man.
Yeah.
That keeps
Well,
you-
I'm over my COVID, so that's a good thing. I got the vid last Monday, a week ago, last Monday. And, took the pills, quarantined for 5 days, masked up for 5 days, and now and I missed a lot of rehearsals. That was the worst part. But I
Well,
was
at least
tired.
you're okay. That's the important thing.
Oh yeah, yeah. Everything's going pretty good. I go start up again with my PT guy, my guru out at the hospital. And we're going to work some just on basic balance. It's just lifelong habit doing things stupid, like turn a corner like 50 miles an hour and you go, wow. Yeah. So
You just got to
anyway,
stop walking
yeah.
into walls, right?
Oh, no, but yeah. Well, I used to do that occasionally, but I quit drinking quite a few years ago.
It hurts more now.
Yeah.
Johnny Dye,
It
have you,
hurts more when you're sober, right?
John Dye, have you got that trumpet out to play some taps yet?
I've pulled it out a few times. It's still pretty depressing, Paul. I'm trying though. I'm trying. It's
Come
a
on,
slow
you can do it.
process.
Hey,
It's
just
a
go
slow
out there
process.
in your garage and just hammer it out.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
John,
I need,
as a percussionist, I look at it this way. Even when you're trying, even if it ain't perfect, it's better than a piece of tape or a recording in a horn.
Yeah.
And so I thank you. And because
Yeah.
all I could do is strap on a drum, go out in the front yard, and play for like Taps Across America, some unknown snare piece of my choice. So I appreciate what
I will know what I'm doing. I'll know what I'm doing pretty good when my granddaughters will sit and listen to me
Yeah.
instead of just
Hey.
running.
Oh, you use
Yeah, I
Mike
guess it-
Ruggiano as
Oh,
your.
no.
Mike
Granddad's
can
at
be
it
your
again.
guide.
Let's get out
He
of
went
here.
from third trumpet to lead trumpet.
No, I'm just doing great. I love it.
Come on.
I never had so much fun. Just
Hey, Mike,
playing with a group again.
You're getting
Yeah.
too many accessories. You need a groupie to go around with you. Carry your.
Yes, somebody mentioned the strap on. Is that something for the horn?
Oh,
Could
okay.
be. Could be.
No, but there's one for your stand. You can put your various mutes. Trumpet players got to have like 15 different accessories.
I do.
Valve oil.
I bought the
you
little holder that separates out 3 rings, and I have I've got the mutes right on there, right so I can grab them quickly.
My God.
Good on you.
Mhm.
No,
And to think we've seen this thing from its infancy. Mike, it's unbelievable.
what?
You're
I couldn't-
playing. We knew you when you were just a baritone player. Now you're a lead trumpet player.
I was just saying how easy it is to play a trumpet. I should have done this before.
You
could
and
have made the
Maynard.
core easy.
Yeah, you and Maynard.
Yes,
Catching on.
and we're supposed to do a duet. I'm waiting for the music. Paul and I.
Hey, so can any of you guys give me lessons on a King K60 Frenchie? 2-valve?
On a what?
A King K60 2-valve French horn bugle. Well, I love that
Same
silence.
as a single valve with a slide or a rotor. So,
It's a 2-valve up and down.
Now,
yeah.
the only thing I could suggest is put the mouthpiece in the small end. It's a good start.
Yeah.
Why would you do that to yourself to start out with? Gee.
So I can scare the hell out of my dogs. Why do you ask?
Oh, yeah.
Those French
Hey,
horns
Mike,
are tough.
Mike, that was a good comment knowing you're talking to a drummer, I mean, that was
Yes,
helpful.
that's it.
That was really helpful. I learned
Yes,
something.
it is. I didn't know that.
Thank you, Bob. I feel better now.
There you go.
Yeah, Tom, you could have picked something besides a French horn to start with, because those are tough horns to play.
Oh, really? I had no idea.
Yeah, you ask Spike. Because I know when I first got to the Corps, I auditioned on soprano. There were no slots, so I re-auditioned on French horn and ended up going in, and Spike was my teacher when I got there.
Well, he taught you well.
All I can tell you is this: I've had it for several years, and I do put some air through it every now and again. And when it arrived on my doorstep, and it was actually used in the 1994 reunion show by the 27th Lancers by oddly enough, a lady trumpet player who had marched for 2-7. She had a big band up in Boston, and all female big band. And I put air through it, and the dogs ran like hell.
Oh, yeah.
So,
They'll howl like crazy.
first note was a screaming success.
Guys,
They're
I'm gonna
like,
have
"Get
to
their
go.
pitch to play."
Oh,
I've got
it's,
to get some
great.
actual food since I was delinquent and I disappeared. I did the magic trick and disappeared the time for this meeting and realized, oh my God, it's starting in 10 minutes and I lost my invite. And Tom jumped right on it. And yeah, so
So you're gonna eat or is it bedtime? What is it, Ray?
yes, I may take a sandwich to bed.
Well, take care of yourself, Ray.
But no crackers or potato chips in bed.
What's
No.
that?
Oh,
Yeah,
good
they're
choice.
rough. Crawl around in the crumbs. They're rough. So.
No.
All right.
A little itchy.
All right, so I guess that
Hey, Roy.
means that anybody
Hey, great
else
seeing
got
you guys
anything?
again.
All right,
I
Ray,
love this.
take
I
it
love
easy.
this get together.
Take
See you,
care,
Ray.
Ray.
All right, bye-bye.
Take care.
Hey, Rick.
Right, take care,
All right.
buddy.
Anybody else got anything else they want to add before we kind of, I guess, shut this down? I don't know.
I'm just going to say something to Mike Reggiano when he's talking about being up in the stratosphere above the staff. I know with Paul, John Ganguzza and I, we were all soprano players. Paul Olivier was a trumpet player. Back when we had the old GD horns, and then even when they switched to the GF horns, everything was above the staff.
Yeah. No, I
And
can
we were in
imagine.
the stratosphere all the time because that's all the horns could handle.
Well,
So
one of
I
the
feel
things,
for you.
one of the things that does drive me is I remember how great the soprano line was with the Corps, and it just so I do strive, and I'm adamant about doing my practice aside from the music that I get from the orchestra. So I'm working on that upper register, and I'm getting there. My goal is to get a high C, C above the staff. And I'm doing A perfectly now. The B, I think I have to wear a cup, but I think I can hit the B.
Well,
You
wait
can
till
do
you get up to the F's and G's.
No, I ain't hit no F and G's. So,
Buy a size smaller underwear. Get
yeah,
smaller
I
underwear.
should. I never
Hey.
think of that.
When you guys get up in that way upper range and stuff, these guys in the Blue Devils, they got a special license plate that they had made up. And I saw one time at the Moonlight Classic show. It's BD UFLS. BD UFLS license plate. Then they have like a 1 and a 2. What do you think it means? Okay. Blue Devils upper effing lead soprano.
Oh, geez.
So
Okay.
you have that. Those are the badass dudes up in the upper lead
Yes.
sopranos.
Yes.
Well, it used to be all up there because I mean, we competed against John Ganguzza when he was Garfield cadets, whatever their name was.
Holy name.
64,
Holy name.
65, I
I
guess.
love that.
How about, let's see, my first year, 1957.
Okay, that was Holy Name.
Yeah,
Yeah, because it was Garfield when we competed against you. So,
right.
but
Yeah,
their horn line, I mean, like Ray or Roy, when you talk about being up there, those guys were up there. And then when we had Joe Gennaro and then Hyde Dreitzer writing for us, I mean, those old horns you couldn't play in a regular register because the horns couldn't do it. So everything was above the staff, and it was crazy.
Question
We were
for
talking about
question for
recordings
John.
before. Does anybody have a recording of Procession of the Nobles that when we played it?
Yeah, Roy's got it from the '69 Stockton show.
At the indoor show?
Yeah, the indoor stage show.
And then there was another
did.
tape when we made a tape at Arnold Hall where there was a great arrangement of National Emblem March. We played.
We
that.
also played that in '69 in Stockton.
Yeah. Is that on that same?
That's
same
on that
show?
same '69 recording in stage show.
I
Just
I've
some
got
What
it
was the name
all.
of the song?
national
that?
emblem he's talking about.
Yeah,
Does anybody have the tape that we did on in Arnold Hall on John Brodsky's recorder? And we had Off We Go and Warlord. Does anybody remember that, or does anybody have that recording?
I remember that, but yeah. That was the old
That
reel
was-
to reel stuff.
Would that be on the
Yeah.
68 show? 'Cause there was one
Uh,
recording of 68. I think it was Kansas. Salinas,
that's-
Kansas.
You know,
No, that was,
in
that was a field
67.
show. This was an indoor thing. This was 67. And I think we did it just before Christmas so we could all get copies and take them home.
I don't think I've heard it, Spike. So. Roy, send the whole list out if you could. Just send out the instructions on how to download it and everything,
Okay.
and the whole list of what's out there. Because I know there, like you said, there's at least 30 or 40 different recordings. If you wouldn't mind sending that out.
Yeah, I'll do that.
That'd be great.
Some friend of mine up here, Roy, got a recording. It was your name was on it, and it was Going Out of My Head
Yeah,
that we did. I think it was at Stockton, but I'm not sure. But
That's on the
that one
Marquee
came
page.
out. That came out pretty good. That was pretty clear
Yeah.
recording.
well, also,
Pretty
each
well.
one of those songs, I broke a lot of them down and I put them on YouTube so they're public to the world, you know.
That might
I
be
don't
where
think I
he got
put the
it.
complete, probably be a good idea to put the whole show on. Sometimes you guys are doing a Kenosha show and a Kansas show, and I got a lot of recordings that.
That's where I thought I heard Going Out of My Head was on the Kenosha show.
Probably, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it played it all,
Kenosha
played
show,
all
the
over.
Kenosha show in 70 had a lot of different songs on it.
Fanfare the New was excellent, I thought.
Yeah.
in that one.
Oh,
and a really
Roy,
tough piece
hey,
to play.
I can use my YouTube channel where we post all these video recordings. If you want to have it, put something together, we could put it on YouTube that way if you want.
Hey, Paul Mayer.
Yep.
While I still have the chance, I do appreciate you sending me that horn. I might be a little bit slow in getting used to it, but I will not let it go to waste. I appreciate it.
Listen, we need more taps buglers out there. Come on, we're counting.
I know.
Yeah. No
You know,
pressure.
and I've been out to the Colorado Springs has a new military cemetery. It's about 10 miles east of the airport of Peterson Field. If you can imagine that, it is out in the middle of nowhere. And on a day like today, I mean, it's got to be on any kind of snowy day, it's got to be miserable out there. I kind of hope I don't have to get to that point where I'm going out there a lot because it's in the middle of nowhere. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, take only the good days when it's a nice weather day. You go out there.
yeah. Okay.
You guys
Hey,
remember the days? You guys remember the days when it was so cold they made us go out 30 minutes earlier so we could blow hot air through our horns?
Yeah.
And how many times did we put our mouthpiece inside our gloves so it wouldn't freeze?
Yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful military mind.
Hey, John Gangusa, got a quick
Yes.
question for you. Were you still with Garfield in 1961, or were you with
Yes.
Hoff?
I was
Well,
with
then you and I,
Garfield until 1963.
okay. And the reason I say that is, I've never shared this with you, but I actually was that was when American Legion Nationals were in Denver, it was 1961. And I was there with the corps that I played with out of Washington State. And when we saw you guys in the field, we realized what a drum corps really was. Just thought I'd share that with you. We learned a
Yeah,
lot.
thank you.
Thank you so very much.
John,
Well, the other,
John, did you?
I guess, before
did you
Christmas, they
play?
put on the Sound of Music.
Esame Mucho and some things like that, yeah.
The Sound of Music on TV. And,
Yeah.
and I remember how we used to play Climb Every Mountain at the end of it. When we went back to the old uniforms with the brass plate. And the
Yep.
last thing you did was you went and you hit that brass plate.
Yeah.
Bam, you hear it.
Oh,
And
yeah.
July 4th, we were in Union City, New Jersey. And we
Right
hadn't beat
across the
SAC that
bridge.
year. And we got through playing The Sound of Music and crunk. And I mean, it just reverberated through the stands. And it was like, we're on tonight, we're on. Sure enough, we came in first that night, but it was something else.
Well, anyway, I've always
John,
wondered
did you
about
play,
that.
did
Now
you
I
play
know.
the Drum Beauty in Stillwater, Minnesota
Yes.
in 16? I was there with the Miami Vanguards.
Yeah, we were there 59 and 60, I think. Or, yeah, I think 59 and 60. Or maybe it was later than that, but I think, I don't think we had
It
the,
was later than, it was the year Nationals were in Minneapolis, and we picked up that show on the way to Minneapolis.
Mhm.
And that was 62 or 63. Andy Candanis, he was in with you guys, right? You remember him?
let's see. Nationals and 63 were out in Vegas.
Yeah, that was Vegas in 62.
Legion
62?
or VFW?
Legion.
The Legion. Legion, I think, was 63.
I'll go with that. 63. That was a good show. A guy that had lived in Stillwater started that show. He later moved to Miami and he was active with our corps. Dick
Mhm.
Clunn was his name. He was the guy that got that show started. And I don't know what you guys did, but they had us billeted with the residents. We were living in people's homes while we were there.
Oh, no.
We were there.
You know, there was that
We were
big
there for 2 or
hill.
3 days.
There was the main street that went up the hill. And
Yeah,
there was
yeah.
a school in the gymnasium, and that's where we stayed.
Okay.
They fed us at the state prison.
That's where you belong.
They used to tell us, don't take the silverware, whatever you do, don't take the silverware.
We changed in that schoolhouse, and they bussed us over to the stadium. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. And that whole show was a good show. A lot of good memories there.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good contest. Yeah.
You know, the interesting thing is when we all sit down and talk like this, I don't ever sense any really bad memories ever. It's always like, you know, you never forget well, anyway, you just don't sense any really bad things.
I'll give you one,
not
Tom.
necessarily fun all the time, but
Hey, Tom, we want to do one bad one. When I first got into drum corps in 61, the corps that we were going to compete against were Garfield Cadets, St. Lucy's Cadets, Blessed Sacrament, Boston Crusaders. And every one of those guys seemed like they were 6 foot tall. And I was like 5'4", little skinny little runt.
And then there was
Al,
very,
I got to tell you, you know, they used to, because actually sadly, I predate you just a little bit in drum corps, not by much, but they used to call Garfield the 6 foot line. Remember, John?
yeah.
Well, I
Except for
remember
you.
the first time I saw Boston Crusaders, they were playing
They were-
Conquest, and it looked like they were just monsters.
Well, yeah, and you know, go back earlier in the conversation this evening about Pat McDonald, and Pat marched guard with Boston.
Oh yeah, she was guard. She
You know,
was
one
Crusader,
forgets that. She had that history also.
right?
So, you know, one tough gal, no doubt about it. They
Oh,
had
yeah.
they had a tough color guard.
They were way
know,
ahead of
it's
their
you guys-
times.
What you guys were talking about earlier, let me tell you a sad story. At Keith's funeral, Gil and I were the only guys from the Corps that made it to the graveside ceremony at that military cemetery on Long Island. King Ersbrook and Bob Gaff were supposed to be following us, but they got lost and they didn't make it to the ceremony. But it was I think Gil and I were the only people, not from the Corps. We were the only people that were there, and you know, it was a sad thing. And then this bugler comes out with a tape recorder in his horn and plays taps. And Gil and I looked at each other like, my God, this is a story that just could not be believed.
That sucks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Go back to my earlier comment about how pleased I am that you guys are able to do that. I mean, that's a skill set I don't have, but I'm really glad you guys are able to do that.
Hey, Tom, this meeting's on a timer, I assume, right? So you can't go through all the skill sets you don't have, just.
Well, I'll be right up your Bob, I appreciate that vote of confidence. And I'll be right
Hey, listen,
behind
you guys were,
I'll be right behind you.
you were talking about how tough the color guard was with Boston Crusaders.
Yep.
It's a true story. When the Police Benevolent Association in Boston used to have their fundraisers for the children, to raise money for the children, and they raise a lot of cash, they would have the Boston Crusader color guard come over and escort them to the bank.
And Paul Mayer probably wearing that
Wouldn't
same,
surprise me.
wearing that same wool dress skirt and top uniform.
Yeah, they were tough gals.
They were wonderful people. Hey,
Good
John
times.
Crowder,
Yeah,
this has been a hell of a lot of fun, but I suspect we probably ought to, like, let people get on with their lives.
I have one last word though for Mike Ruggiano.
Okay.
Try wearing Depends, and I think it could help you hit that B flat.
Well, I already did. I told you, when I started hitting the A, every time I hit the A, it shit my pants. So now I'm getting better at that now.
Control yourself, Mike.
Hey, has anybody been in touch with Frank Diello at all, or heard from him, or know anything about him?
No.
All I remember the last time he was in Delaware, when I found out, I had already left Delaware. He was only about 10 miles from me, and I moved to Florida. I moved to Florida, and then I found out he was living in Delaware. And we had a little bit of contact, but I think he had some horses. I don't know whether he must have retired, but
Yeah, he had a horse. He had a horse farm. They raised
Yeah.
horses,
yeah.
sulkies. Yeah.
I want to say that I had heard from him sometime in the last 12 months, and I just made myself a note. I'll do a double check on my emails and stuff.
The last time I heard from him, and I can't remember how many years ago it was, but he told me he was working with a drum line at St. Joe's of Batavia. But that was
Well, that wouldn't be Delaware then.
No.
no. His wife died. The horse farm went away. Frankly,
Right. Okay.
He's been away from Delaware for a long time.
Well, I'll double check my stuff and see if I have anything.
Yeah. Anybody have any contacts up there at St. Joe's?
No.
I don't
brings
think
back
they're in
some memories with
existence
that
right
name.
now. I don't think they're around anymore.
They got a pretty active alumni corps. They
No.
turn out with about turn out with
No,
about 90 horns.
No, not anymore.
No, they've
Oh,
dialed
really?
down. What Bob is saying, they've dialed down considerably if they're still around.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the guys that plays in our band down here was from there.
Okay,
from St. Joe.
yeah. Maybe 20 years ago, I saw them at a show at the Forum up in Harrisburg, and they had a big corps and a nice corps. But the last time I saw them, they were really struggling. I think
Oh, really?
a guy named Bill McGrath was doing their drum line for a while, and he was lamenting that they were struggling. Bill's a really good drummer, but
Yes, he is.
Yeah. Bob, did you know Frank Diallo with us? Drummer with the Academy Corps.
no, I know the name, that's all.
Okay. Great guy. Great guy.
All the guys were great guys.
Yeah, we did have a bunch of good guys.
Yeah.
We really did.
Bunch of
Well,
crazy
here-
people.
Here some of us are.
We're living examples of
John,
that.
John Crowder, it's good to see you. What's wrong with your camera?
It just decides to not work.
Okay. Well, it's good to see you moving.
It's gonna happen any minute now. It's gonna go crazy. So,
Okay.
there goes.
Oh. All right. Well,
Yeah.
I think it's a
Good.
time machine kind of thing, you know?
pretty
Yeah.
good picture, though. It's a good
Yeah.
picture.
Yeah, I'm still alive. I'm dead yet.
Hey, a
You know,
question
I-
for John Ganguza.
Yes.
John Ganguza, I was thinking about a couple things last week about the Air Force Corps when we were there and we at our dining hall and this and that and the other thing. And I was thinking about what was that car that was that a Buick Skylark?
Yes.
It was. And when you
Yeah,
got
that's
to the
what-
academy,
yeah.
did you drive that out then, or did you go back home and get it and come back with it at one point?
I flew out there right out of basic training. And then I took a week's leave, came home, got it, and drove back out.
No, okay. That was almost like John Ersbrook when he left one weekend and came back with a Corvette on Sunday afternoon from
Except
Jersey.
my father didn't pay for mine.
Yeah. I remember Crazy Otto, we used to call
Otto, yeah, the
him.
elevator.
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Yeah.
What a nice man he was.
What were your years at the academy, John?
I was there, let's see, I got there in November. No, wait a minute, I went into the Air Force in November of '66. So then it was January of '67 that I got to the academy.
Yep.
And then I extended until February, I think, of 70, because they went to the Sugar Bowl that year.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
And so they said, can you stick around so I was 90 days, yeah, sure. So I stuck around, then I got out, I was out for a little bit over 2 years, I guess.
oh,
Because when I came back in, I lost a stripe. But the day before I came back in, Colonel Thurston called me up and said, what time are you re-enlisting tomorrow? I said at 10 o'clock, sir. And he said, okay. What rank are you coming back in? And I said, I'm coming back in as a senior airman. He said, well, we're having a promotion board tomorrow afternoon, so you'll get your stripe back.
Okay.
So I came
Good
back in
timing.
as a staff sergeant. I showed up at the academy, and here I am in civilian clothes, went to personnel, and they said, you have to be in uniform to sign in. I said, no, you don't understand. I don't have a uniform until you sign me in. He said, oh, you're the one.
well, you certainly made up for those stripes over your career, I'll tell you. Nice job.
I had a great time. I enjoyed it all.
Huh.
Great stuff.
I was of the opinion, I knew you, your first time in the Corps, when we went to the Sugar Bowl. And then you were gone for a couple of years and then came back in. I thought, oh, I guess you can just come and go as you want.
Well, you know what it was? Kay and I went, we saw Gil McDonald, and Gil invited Kay and myself out for the Airman's Award Banquet that year. And so we're sitting there and having a great time with everybody. And I was sitting next to Bill Stokes. And Stokes said, did you ever think about coming back in? I said, no, not really. He said, well, if you ever do, give me a call. Okay, so that was on Saturday. Sunday and IK said, boy, we really had a lot of fun last night. That was great. Monday noon hour, I came home from work and said to her, what do you think if I call up Bill and see if he was serious about me coming back? She said, yeah, that'd be a good idea. So I called him up and I said, Bill, were you serious about me coming back? He said, yeah, how soon can you be back? I said, well, let me give him 2 weeks notice. And that was it.
Huh.
How about that?
Were you in the Corps or did you go into the band squadron?
I was in the Corps.
Oh. Hmm. Were you you were there until they disbanded it?
No, well, I
Yeah.
was, yes and no. I was, yeah, I was there till they disbanded it, and then they kind of put me in the band, and I was with Rod and Tyler
Yeah.
Hey,
with the
Tyler.
Cadet Drum and Bugle Corps.
Oh, the Cadet Corps, yeah.
Yeah, and then I made it through the first football game with them, and that's when I left after the football. They had me around for the first football game.
I can understand. That's a good time to leave.
Well, it's kind of funny too, because I had, we ordered flags made out of cotton or whatever was material for the Cadet from Bugle Corps, because we got authorized to have 100 members, but we didn't want 100. We wanted 18 of them to be flag bearers. So that way it would help and keep the line straight with the marching and everything else, because we interspersed them within. And I was out on the terrazzo practicing with them one day, and General Vandenberg was out there, and he called me over and he said, Sergeant, what the hell is this? I said, what, sir? He said, those damn flags. Yes, sir. He said, we authorized you to have 100 cadets in there. We expect them all to be players. I said, they are. And I said, for football games and stuff like that, where we have to look really good marching, I'd like to have those so that they can make the lines nice and straight and stuff. So, oh, well, it better work. First, after the
No
first
pressure,
football
yeah.
game, he has the oh, I forget his name, little short chief master sergeant. He was like he worked in
Woody?
the commandant's office.
Not Woody, right?
Pardon? No, not Woody, not the
Not
first
Woody.
sergeant. It was, this guy was in the commandant's of cadets office.
Okay.
He calls me up and he said, General thinks that was great, except he didn't like the way the flags flew in the wind. He said, what the hell do we have to use so they get blow out really nice? I said, well, satin, nylon, something like that. He said, you tell the tailor shop to make those things up. Want them at the next show. And I said, but sir, I'm not there. You are there until we get those flags.
The Chief Lareau,
Yeah, I think so.
yeah,
Spare no expense.
the cadet wing doing a lot of the cadet activities. A long time.
Yeah, interesting stories.
That's great.
So you tap dance too, huh, John?
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's a small piece of trivia when I got there in '67 as well. In the day room, that's where John Ganguza, Mike Ruggiano, John Ershbrook, and I lived for a couple months because they
Yeah.
didn't have any rooms, so they converted the day room to our bedroom. And it was while people were coming in taking phone calls in the middle of the night.
Yes.
Ew.
Oh, man.
We made it though.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Hey, you're on time for work, huh?
Oh yeah.
And a stand-up uniform to boot.
Oh yeah.
But
Good
even though we had, some times that we may not have been as happy, it still was fun. Which we can look back now, even the crap was fun. And when you look back on it now.
I was playing taps at a ceremony and a guy was talking to me and I told him he was in the Air Force and he said, yeah, wasn't the food terrible? I couldn't stand the food in the Air Force.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
You didn't have our trouble, huh?
Yeah, no,
Not where we were.
yeah, we had it pretty good.
He didn't have Sergeant Dallaire. Remember Sergeant Dallaire?
Sergeant
yeah.
Laird, yep.
George
Yeah.
Delaire.
And he'd invite us all for those late lunches at different times because he'd have all those special meals.
You have lobster.
Oh, yeah, we had
lobster
all
one
sorts.
time.
And when they had
Yeah.
the bear and the beef, it was
Oh,
like
God, that was
as much as
fantastic.
you wanted.
The carved beef,
Money-
oh, man.
Was it 35 cents?
Yeah.
You know, when he retired, he got
And
an
you
offer
could hardly
from
get in 'cause
Caesar's
all the
Palace to
offices
go out there
were
and run their food services.
What happened, John?
When he
What'd you say?
retired,
Yeah,
he got an offer from Caesar's Palace out in Vegas to run their food service operation.
really?
Wouldn't surprise me.
He was such a good guy.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, I hate to kill it, but sounds like after an hour and a half, you guys are kind of winding down.
Not really, but what the hell?
Well, you know, now that Ray's not here, we all have a chance to talk.
You'll watch this on video.
Just everybody opened up all of a sudden.
Yeah, I didn't
How are
want
they
to say
gonna
anything.
spell-
Thanks, Mike. I didn't want to say anything, but
That's okay. I'm used to being obnoxious, so I'll just take advantage of it.
and you're good at it too. You really
Thank
are.
you. I've had a lot of practice. So,
So Paul, you think you're gonna be able to make it to the show on April 1st?
Well, I'm hoping to. The negotiations end on March the 31st.
Holy moly. You'd be
I
cutting
hope
it
they
zip
end.
thin.
They're supposed to end. But if not,
Well,
they've got a strike plan in place, so it could get very interesting. So we'll see. But I'm trying to push them to a reasonable best and final offer. So we'll see what we can do.
It'd be wonderful to see you. Good luck.
We look forward to it for sure. It looks like a great show. And the hall where it's held, it is magnificent, Bob. You're absolutely right that the acoustics in that Pauley Pavilion there are terrific. And
Yeah.
you guys run a great show. It's just terrific, it's wonderful.
Yeah, I think we're really excited because the Marines are going to be there,
Mhm.
that's the closest facsimile to what we all did, so. Really,
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
there's
the
your
only ones
part
left that
on
really do the
occasion.
military stuff.
yeah.
Well, they all look like they came out of a mold. I mean, they're all lean and mean looking and about the same
So,
height.
so listen to this, when I was trying to find a room for them, we have dressing rooms assigned around the college. And they wanted a place where they could plug in 18 or 20 ironing boards to make sure they pressed their uniform before they
Oh,
went on.
wow.
Yeah. Made me smile.
You need 18 inches between beds, remember? Right, John?
They're obviously well trained.
Not if you're camping out in the Rocky Mountains, John.
That's right. I guess in Aspen, you don't have to do that.
No, you didn't. Nobody tells anybody, but you're sleeping together. That's okay.
Good thing we had a ski pole handy, huh?
That's right.
True story. I don't know if you remember Jody. You remember Jody Murray in the.
oh, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Jody Murray was leaving the barracks one morning and he knocked on my door and said, "Do you still have an iron?" I said, "Yeah, I got an iron." He said, my pants are all wrinkled. Harvey's going to kill me. I need to iron my pants. So I said, "Okay, we'll just no, iron them now." I said, "But you got them on." He said, "Just iron them." Jody Murray. He was on another planet that morning, I think.
Oh, God.
Totally believable story, Paul.
He would not have felt it, no
No.
matter how hot that iron was, he
Yeah.
would have never felt it.
Yes.
No.
Turn around, Jody.
Has anybody tried to call him? I've tried to call him several times and he doesn't acknowledge. Doesn't acknowledge us at all now.
I would be very surprised that he's alive.
No,
Yeah.
you know what, Mikey, he turned into a CPA, moved back to Casper.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I heard he had a very successful CPA practice in Casper.
You're right, that does surprise me.
That stood
Yeah.
for codeine, penicillin,
Yeah.
and
Well, that's all, Mike, that's almost as crazy as you being a master of chemistry, for crying out loud.
And look, I mean, like engineers have to constantly stay up on stuff they learn. Me, you become a chemist and you can just handle any crap.
Alright.
Hey, gentlemen, I think our next meeting is scheduled, or Zoom is scheduled for March 29th, I think. Like I said, I don't have it sitting in front of me, but
Yeah,
we'll
that's
get the
right.
info out again.
That's right. I got it. Yeah.
Al, Ruat,
Yeah.
miss you around here. Everything going good in Arizona?
Oh, we're doing all right. Yeah, like I said earlier, we had a little snow and cold, and I thought we got away from that. But
No.
I know I was talking to Bill a couple of weeks ago, and he said you guys have been fighting snow off and on.
We've
So,
had a pretty snowy winter. Yeah, yeah. Global warming, you know.
oh yeah,
Oh,
definitely.
yeah, we have it.
Yeah.
Well, at least I'm not away. I'm not in Florida, but I'm, Arizona's not all that bad. So
Right, right. Okay, we'll stop and see you sometime if we get close.
please do anytime anybody's in Kingman, Arizona, northwest corner.
Kingman, Arizona.
Yeah,
Really?
Bob, you said you and Pat come here once in a while.
Yeah,
Or
my
she does,
wife,
anyway.
my wife more than I. In fact, she's flying out there next month to see her girlfriend. The lady that used to live up the street from us moved out there about 15 or 20 years ago.
Yeah, you mentioned that in an email back a couple
Yeah.
of months ago. So,
Yeah, that's
My
that's
brother
crazy.
lives there.
Bob Z, do you still have my phone number and address and stuff?
Hold on, I'll tell you.
If not, I'll send it to you again.
I'm
But if
pretty
Pat
sure I
needs
do,
anything,
but
have her
hold
call
on
me.
now.
But have her call me if she needs anything.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We're all still one big happy family. Well, maybe not happy, but
Big family.
hey, we're
Well,
all brothers, and that
I
means
tell you
all the
what, I
wives are
show
sisters.
your address in Alaska, so I might not have it.
Okay, I'll send you an email.
Okay, thanks. That's really nice.
All right, guys.
Otherwise, you guys
Okay.
take care. Paul, don't work too hard, will you?
I'll try, yeah, get through this, we'll be good.
And to who this applies to, stay warm.
Yeah.
Everybody take care of yourself, stay
Yeah,
happy and stay healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
for the
guys.
last 10 minutes, you guys got me sneezing. I don't know what's going on here.
All right. I love you guys, be well.
Past my
So
See you
bedtime.
next month.
You're
Good
just
seeing
allergic
everybody.
to the Academy
Bye.
Corps
Great to see
guys.
everybody. Yeah.
Thank
Tom,
you.
Take care.
Tom, I'll see you
Bye.
next week, right?
Bye-bye.
Stay well.
All right, love you guys. It was good. It was good. Good night.
Thank you for the invite.
Good night. John, tell your beautiful wife, thanks for getting you on again tonight.
Okay, thanks. Say hi to Judy
Good
for me.
night, Cindy.
I will, buddy.
Good night, Cindy. Yeah.
See you guys. Bye.
See ya.
John Crowder, take care, man.
All
Be in
right, hey,
touch.
I'll send you out the recording of this in the next couple of days, okay?
I know where to find you. You know where to find me.
Yes, sir. All right. Take care,
All right.
Paul.
Paul, be good.
Okay.
Bye-bye, guys.